Hello, and welcome back to the second episode of a podcast I'm calling PWiSM, but I've called this episode 0.3. One of the things that I saw last week, as I'm still getting my footing with this whole idea, so we're going to have a few more test episodes. This episode will not have an audio copy. It turns out that that's more complicated than I really thought it was going to be, so we're going to stick with video for now. And you'll notice that we have music with lyrics this week. That's something that I've had a lot of mixed feelings on, but I feel like it's background enough to be just filter. And shouldn't interfere with the content of the episode. But this is why we experiment. The last thing that I did between last week and this was to find more accounts on Twitter to follow. That was definitely a thing I needed to plan out a little bit more. One of the things I totally missed, totally didn't remember to do in our search for new followers last week, or new people to follow, excuse me, were webcomic artists, authors, writers, etc. Just totally forgot. So, we're gonna jump right into it here, and we will see what this week brings. So come on. One of the first things you'll notice here this week is we're following The Onion. I think I said this last time. I want to keep this light and happy and, a good end to the week, right? So The Onion's always good for that. Here they have I am assuming an article that they wrote. Oh, I also have a timer. Excuse me. I'm going to hit start on the timer. We have 1/2 hour starting now. So The Onion, I assume this is one of their articles. Roommate cooked enough of gross thing for everyone. I currently have a roommate. I used to have more roommates. I had roommates in college. I had actually a number of roommates in college. At one point, we're in a suite of 5 people, myself included. So, I know a little bit of what that's like, but we didn't do a lot of cooking for a group, unless it was like a party thing. We used to have Wing Fest. That was a thing. I used to make enough wings for whoever was coming. And, some barbecue, some buffalo, different mixes. Anyway, that was pretty much that's the only time that I can remember that we specifically cooked food for other people. We also started following Atlas Obscura. During World War II, soldiers training in the desert near Yuma, Arizona, began decorating a site they called Graffiti Mesa, using rocks to write their names in the sand. Today, over 1,200 acres of land are decorated with signatures, messages, dates, and designs. This is actually really neat. I think if I click on this, it's going to bring me through to the article, so I'm not going to click on it, but that seems like a really cool thing to check out. Then we have some news. We started following Kotaku, which is mostly video game related news, but occasionally has some interesting things. I think we're going to get a lot of GIFs out of them, which is part of why I have them there. Just a reminder that you can be there to witness this. Witness this season even. That's true. The baseball season is up and coming, and I'm really personally excited for the potential of the Red Sox this year. I think they still have some things to figure out, but they have a new manager, and I think he's going to do really, really well. So Hashtag hoops haiku. Oh, this is like a March Madness basketball themed haiku. Kentucky, K-State. March is when wildcats become cannibalistic. The Kentucky, what is it? Kentucky State University? Kentucky University? I can't remember if there's a state in there or not, but there must be because they call it K-State. Anyway, their doodad must be the Wildcats, and by doodad I mean mascot. Couldn't come up with that word for a second. And I'm sure there are other cat-themed mascots in the league, so that must be the cannibalism reference. This is interesting. I have a friend, actually one of those college roommates, who is a game developer and is heavily involved in the gaming community and whatnot. He went to a conference this week called GDC, or the Game Developers Conference. And he noticed this as well. A lot of developers at the conference were looking to unionize, and so that's very interesting to me. That it's in a Kotaku article as well. I'm sure it talks about the things that are going on at GDC. Though most studies on mice don't translate to humans, David A. Sinclair says he's quite optimistic this one could because our blood vessels work the same way as in mice. Scientists discover the cause of vascular aging and how to reverse it. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Talking about certain heart disease and blood-related diseases, that science is pretty wild, I think, is what I have to say about that. So this is the thing that's been going around, this 2012 versus 2018. I've considered looking up some pictures from 2012, but I can't imagine that I look all that different. I probably still have a goatee. I probably don't have a full beard. But haircut's all the same. If I went back to 2006, I think there would be a stark difference. Anyway, this is Gavin Free. This is a picture that he took in 2012, and this is the similar picture he took in 2018. Contrary to what these pictures may suggest, I have not spent the last 6 years stranded on an island. I don't know, I don't think people change very much in 6 years, but we'll see. Oh, so this is a friend of one of the artists I followed in the last week. Hachette will be officially publishing Sleepless Domain Volume 1 in French. Oh, wow. So this is a comic. I don't know if it's a webcomic or purely print, but it's the first one for this person that's been officially published in a foreign language. So shout out to that person, to Mary Cagle. Hold on, I want to check her out. She's got her art on Tumblr. She also is apparently playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is a game that I've started to get into recently. Look at all the stuff that she has. Oh my goodness, there's so much to that game that I haven't come close to looking at yet. That's awesome. Well, that's too bad. I really should resist clicking through to things, because then we have to scroll down to where we were. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, artists, because no one ever believes me, here's a palette that's really popular right now in RGB. and in CMYK. I'm not familiar with what CMYK stands for, but if you're using this palette and it's printing well, it's because someone on the other end adjusted colors for you. I can pop this out, right? So this is interesting. This is a digital, this must be digital, and that much must be for print or something? I'm not sure. But yeah, having designed a small number of websites, both for personal use and for others, I dread doing things with colors. It is very difficult for me to get a color scheme that's proper. That's why my intro screen here is like, you know, my face that I've chosen as an icon, and then black and white, because I just don't want to mess with it. You know, I would love to throw in some blues, but it's not gonna happen. Let's see, Sister Jean. So I don't know how many people have been watching the March Madness basketball tournament, NCAA basketball tournament, which is also known as March Madness. But what was this, last Saturday? This sister, this is a Catholic sister, not anybody's, you know, family sister or whatever, was at a Loyola basketball game, and all the players, you know, she was down when they won, she was down on the court, and I was out with some family having dinner, and you know, it was St. Patrick's Day, so we had a couple of drinks, and nobody knew who this person was. Nobody knew anything about the school, that it was a Catholic school, anything like that. So we're just like, who is this lady? Why is she down here? And why is every player like, oh yeah, we totally did it? And it immediately became a thing, and people started making memes and posting pictures. But it turns out that she's actually really, really cool. And I guess she did some scouting for the team. It says here, quote, I look at their records to see how they're doing, who stays and how many minutes, how good they are at free throws, and I use that in part of my prayer. You know, whatever works for you, basically. Man. I touched on this last week, and this is just personally interesting, so I'm going to touch on it again. But, you know, gun control continues to be a big thing here in the United States, and students are taking up protests to, you know, to try to make change. And I honestly have to say, it's pretty amazing to watch, and I'm proud of that. I'll say younger generation, but I guess I'm not that much older than probably some of these students, you know. But WBR put out a poll in the state of Massachusetts. 73% of voters support their activism. Doesn't necessarily mean that people support, you know, stricter gun laws or stricter gun control or whatever, but that's very interesting. Call me sentimental. So this is retweeted by one of the webcomic artists, I'm sure, or actually authors and artists. I'm sure we'll see him later on as well with something of his own. But call me sentimental, but I miss the days when every news cycle didn't bring some horrifying development that suggested our grandchildren will be eking out a bare subsistence in a post-apocalyptic hellscape. Not wrong. I too miss those days. I've basically given up actively watching the news. I will get a digest of articles throughout the day at various points, and I will listen to some WBUR, you know, when I need something to put on. it's real tough. You know, there's sensationalism in the news that is really difficult for me to feel good about or feel like I should listen to, and so yeah, I'm with them. Here's another hoops haiku. Sister Jean's bracket has busted. Loyola's passed her. Presaged wins by 1. That's not a great haiku. I mean, it works. They broke it up. They broke up the lines correctly, but not what we should be going for here. To the guy in Sea of Thieves that knew me saying no repeatedly means, as friendly as you may seem, I'm not getting treasure off an island onto my boat with you parked there. I can't trust anyone not to be a dick and steal it. Had to sink you, dude. So this is one of the achievement hunters. We talked about this a little bit last week, but there's a new game that came out this week called Sea of Thieves, where you're essentially a pirate. I take that back. You're a pirate, and you're on the high seas with other pirates doing pirate things. And a common thing, I think, I actually haven't played a lot of the game, but I've heard this complaint from other people. A common thing that happens seems to be you do a bunch of work, like you're given a mission, you have to go get some stuff or go whatever, retrieve a thing, bring it somewhere, or whatever. People will kill you, wait for you to respawn, kill you again, wait for you to respawn, kill you again, sink your ship, and it's just an overall very frustrating experience. So, yeah, until that changes, until that mechanic is somehow taken care of, I don't blame Jeremy at all for that. Oh wow, I would totally click through to this barbecue sauce smackdown and spend the rest of the podcast talking about this, but I'm not going to. But there's a tweet, I'm assuming they're comparing barbecue sauces. Kraft Original, yikes. KC Masterpiece Original, okay, not bad. TGI Fridays, not bad. Something called Open Pit, which is, I'm not familiar with that at all, so I will not pass judgment on it. Stubbs, if you like barbecue sauce, Stubbs is very good. Sweet Baby Ray's is, I don't know, sort of a classic, I guess, for people, but I wouldn't put it on meat. I think it's fine probably on a sandwich. Newman's Own, actually, it doesn't surprise me that there's a barbecue sauce from Newman's Own, but I've never tried it, which does surprise me. 365, which is, I think, Stop and Shop brand. And Famous Dave's, which sounds like it should be amazing. Also, I'm sorry to all the barbecue fans out there who prefer spice rubs. I don't. Generally, I'm putting meat in the oven, and if you do a good spice rub, you want to like grill it or smoke it or something, and it's just not my style. So I apologize if I've offended you. Something strange about the mumps vaccine, and I'm not sure we really need to read or get into. What? People are growing plants in space? On Earth, plants use gravity and light to orient their roots, but in space, what drives their direction? ISS research aboard the space station gets to the root of this riddle by studying plants' ability to detect gravity and adapt to an environment without it. That's like a 2-minute long video that I didn't start watching the beginning of, so I'm not going to watch the rest of it, but that's super interesting. Rain and snow vex both coasts. The Northeast dealt with canceled flights and power outages Thursday. Wait, that was today. Oh, awkward. Behind the scenes. I'm recording this Thursday night. That's also a thing I'm experimenting with this week. It turns out that it took me a lot longer to process everything on Friday morning, and so I didn't want to be under the gun to get this done and then go to work. So I will record on Thursday night. It will be uploaded Friday morning for all of you passionate listeners out there. But anyway, yeah, we got some snow today after there was no snow that came yesterday, at least in Boston. I think places to the south still got snow yesterday. Shrug. Weather is strange. We have a responsibility to protect your data, and if we can't, then we don't deserve to serve you, Mark Zuckerberg said earlier today. I think it was today. Facebook, I will say, unintentionally leaked a bunch of user data by allowing third-party applications, I'll say excessive access, without reason for that access. And that's a little egg on the face of Facebook, because they didn't necessarily know it happened. But even worse, they didn't tell us when it did. And so, you know, more and more, I'm thinking it's time for Facebook to just go away. It's mostly turned into people posting videos and reposting other videos, and I don't know. I don't see quality content on Facebook anymore. Anyway, my milkshake brings all the girls to. What is this thing? It looks like it should be in Star Wars, but I really think I would remember that. There's no context around this whatsoever. Oh well. The aptly named Mysterious Bookshop in New York City is the world's oldest and biggest bookstore that stocks only mystery, crime fiction, espionage, and thrillers. The bookshop, along with the Mysterious Press, has been operating since 1979. How cool is that? I hope it's like in the back of a smaller bookshop with this hidden door or something. That would be so awesome. Someday, when I get a house, I'm absolutely going to have hidden doors and crawlways and things like that. Ooh, Kotaku talked with Nintendo's indie games chief, Damon Baker, about eShop successes, how developers can get on the Switch, region-free gaming, and more. That's interesting. Having just picked up my Switch, actually last Friday after I did this podcast, I'm all about it right now, and some of that's not just the hype and the excitement for me, but like, I really freaking love the Switch. I think it's a really, really cool piece of hardware, and the fact that I could, you know, play some games, hop in the car to go to Connecticut. I was not driving, but continue playing in the car, and then once I got there, plug it back in to get power and put it onto a TV and all the rest, and pop off. You know, the controllers are part of the like tablet, so like, it's a really, really incredible system. I'm very, very happy about it. Anyway, we also started following Chris Pratt. He usually posts some pretty cool stuff, but this is just a repost from his Instagram. Unfortunately, we can't get to easily, so that's too bad. Visit theonion.com to see more from the standard bearer of global journalism. Newswire: man attempts to stand in attractive woman's line of vision. We started following Nerdist. I figure they should have some interesting things going on, but I'm going to scroll past that. I wish there were more context to some of these things. But ooh, here's another Red Sox hype video. A hitter's worst nightmare, our reality. I think this is Craig Kimbrell, the Red Sox closer. Yep. The way he cocks that arm. That's just so weird. It's like some sketchy baseball robot. I don't know. Maybe it works. So this is Misha. I want to get my webcomics right. She is the writer and artist on Alice and the Nightmare. And she posts a lot of art that she makes. If you're into webcomics, I highly suggest checking that out. It's pretty good. She recently had some wrist issues, I think. She just finished college, and I think what she did for her final project did a number on her hand or wrist. So she hadn't been updating in a little while, but she just recently started updating, I think once a week, and she's going to build back up to her twice weekly. And I mean, personally, I hope that she can post more frequently, but I understand you got to take care of your body and all that, so it'll be interesting. Achievement Hunter is going to stream Rainbow Six Siege over on Ubisoft. Good for them. They're taking advantage of that partnership. Red beans and rice is in the spotlight. I think that should be are in the spotlight. But I guess if the dish is red beans and rice, whatever. Anyway, it's in the spotlight thanks to a New Orleans event called Bean Madness, styled after the college basketball tournament. Nice. A little over, not quite a year ago, I went to New Orleans for the first time. I will tell you, don't be a vegetarian in New Orleans. It's gonna be hard to find stuff that you can eat. I'm personally not a full-time vegetarian, but I believe that maybe meat once a day is enough. New parents wisely start college fund that will pay for 12 weeks of education. Yeah. Good call, The Onion. It's a dog video. We rate dogs. Here's a puppo executing a passionate attempt. 14 out of 10 would boost. Let's see if I can bring this up without. Oh, you can make it, buddy. All right. Oh wow, Monster Hunter World. I won't focus too much on the video game aspects of the accounts that I've followed, but there are some great games out there, I will say. American people admit having Facebook data stolen kind of worth it to watch that little effer squirm. Wow. I forgot that sometimes the Onion can be just a little vulgar. That's okay. Oh, the highlight reel. It's been a while since I've watched a Kotaku highlight reel, but it's always good to see new games and the weird bugs that happen in them. Not sure about the context here, but we have started following Stephen Colbert, who generally has some pretty hilarious tweets. What? Tron Legacy logo ideas? Lego ideas, even? I would love to have some Tron Legos. Dang, that would be cool. Massachusetts RMV, which is not a DMV, but an RMV, which is ever so confusing for some people, but it's the Registry of Motor Vehicles, is closed through the weekend as it transitions to new tech for real ID licenses. Yeah, time to get a new license, I guess. It's gonna be fancy and will let me travel in the United States without them saying, no, we can't verify your ID. I'm not completely certain on the context of these tweets, but Willis, I can't remember his full name. Anyway, he writes a comic. He writes actually a series of comics based around the same characters, but sort of put in different positions. The one that I read is called Dumbing of Age, which is everything's set in a college, local college. Anyway, but he says, if John Bolton kills everyone before I get MP Dinobot, I can't remember what that stands for. I don't know. I'll be extremely pissed. I'll be so pissed that being dead won't stop me from being pissed. The reason I wanted to read these is just to say that he is obsessed with Transformers. And it's really quite something. I'm scrolling down right now, A, to skip some news, and B, to hopefully find a picture that he would post of some of his Transformers, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. Oh well. Oh, hold on. Part of me is upset I haven't gotten my Mesozoic Raptors like everyone else I know. Another part of me thinks it'd be hilarious and preferable for them to not show up until the same day I get MP Dinobot. Aha, there is more to this chain. But before we keep scrolling, I'll say we also follow Jeff Jocks, who writes questionable content and had a side comic called Alice Grove that is absolutely worth a read. It's not very long. I think he only kept it going for a couple of years, but he says, today I got my haircut, and it turned out my barber used to read my comic when she was a teen. She's now 27. I'm so old. Yeah, I mean, happens. Oh, there was a new Deadpool 2 trailer today. Time's up. I guess we'll finish talking about Deadpool. Wow. There was a new Deadpool 2 trailer today, and it's absolutely worth a watch if you enjoyed the first one. Looks like it's going to be an interesting movie. I'm excited for it. I want to read one more. I don't want to stop yet. Wait, what? No, I'm not gonna read that. I gotta find something better. There's also a Mr. Rogers movie that's coming out, and I encourage everyone to check that out as well. Here we go. This is Willis again. He's saying, Vox.com has all our money. This is just an unfortunate case of ellipses. Republicans said their tax bill would go to workers. Instead, it's going to ... Vox.com. I believe this is an image taken from one of those news websites that at the bottom or side of their articles, it has all these other things that are like, oh, related to this. And you get, some piece of the clickbaity article title, and then you get the URL to the site, which I appreciate because occasionally some of those sites are really bizarre and I don't want to go there, but occasionally it's like something I would consider reputable and I'll click through. Well, that's it. All right, the timer went off. I should stick to the timer. It's been a full half hour and I'm amazed that even happened, but it did. We've made it through another half hour of the podcast I've called PWiSM. I don't know how long that name can really stand. I'm having trouble. I really need to focus when I say it. I can't just let it come out. It needs to be PWiSM. The present week in social media. I thought it was really crafty the first time I came up with it. But yeah, things come and go. So there you have it. The next week we'll have another sort of test episode. I am feeling a little heavy on the news right now, so I may ditch one of the news organizations that we're following right now. Experiment a little bit more with music. I want to see, if I can find a specific track that would really fit the time of the podcast well. And just more polish, really. So I was gonna say, if you're watching this on YouTube, but it's the only place I'm gonna make it available, so hey, like, comment, and subscribe. Help me out. No, but really, I have been looking at comments. I have been asking people for comments. Some folks that I know in a live streaming group, I know that they came by and passed on some feedback, and I got some feedback from some friends as well. I really appreciate it, all of you. And if you enjoyed this, if you thought this was worthwhile, tell a friend. We're gonna keep going. I want to set some goals for this whole thing, and I'm saying that out loud so that maybe I'll hold myself to it. But I'm interested to see where this goes. So we'll see where it goes. But do enjoy your Fridays, everyone. Stay well, be kind to each other, and don't forget to come back for more. I will see you all next week. Have a good one.